Sounds good. But yeah, hi, my name is Luis Garcia. I am here on behalf of the Nerd Course today, and today I am interviewing the director for Dealing with Dad, a kind of coming of age and comedy movie that I got to see a screening for at the LAA PFF, or the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival. And it was amazing. I loved the comedy in it. It hit my funny bone every time. And the story, I it was just like I I'm not Asian myself. I'm Mexican, but the aspect of like minorities dealing with mental health and like the parents kind of being, I'm fine, I don't need the whole doctor thing, kind of hit with me and some of my family members. But I did want to ask. I know the film is comedy and deals with some serious realities that people might face here in the new age, and talking about depression and just mental health. I know it doesn't necessarily focus on the dad's depression. It does kind of focus on the siblings that are in the film that come together to kind of help the father with what he's going through, and in the process they kind of end up figuring out their traumas that the dad kind of left them with, and kind of pushing through that. um I kind of wanted to ask you what kind of led you to create that narrative, to create that story, with such kind of we don't see that type of narrative nowadays, about like depression, mental health, although it's like not pushy, like, oh, this is very like in your face type of talk. It is still very like, oh, this is kind of serious, and why not talk about it, right? What kind of pushed you to follow through with that situation in the story?
Yeah, the film is based on my own experience trying to get my dad out of depression.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took us about 8 years to do it, and me and
Mm-hmm.
my family. And I think a lot of the time that it took so long was partly just because it took a while for us to understand what depression was,
Yeah.
and B, on my part, is trying to get family and friends to understand that depression is a disease and
Mm-hmm.
not just an emotion you just kind of walk off, which, in a lot of immigrant American cultures, that's what depression isn't even seen as a priest. It's actually seen as kind of a weakness.
Yeah.
So I think once I got family and his friends on board to understand that it was more than just him being lazy or sad, I think that really helped us to support him and
Mm-hmm.
get finally actually see a doctor.
Yeah.
Uh, it was hard. It's hard enough to get my parents to see a doctor if they break their leg or something, much less than depression and something they don't even really understand.
Mm-hmm.
So part of why I made the film was, I wanted to kind of share my experience, what it's like to do that, but also hopefully get people to talk about just a first step to get people to talk about depression.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and maybe if they see someone that is in the same situation, or they're in the same situation, that it encourages them to do something about it, not just let it think it's just going to go away.
Yeah, and just to let him be like, oh, he's how the younger brother, when they first started, like, oh, he's actually better like this because he doesn't scream at us a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It very much so, and I love that. I really much love that about the story. And it was like, so far I think it's in my first place for what I watched so far.
Oh,
It's in my like top spot for the 5 films that I've watched so far, throughout the festival, because of that. Just like it means a lot, especially when it's your parents, let alone like just a loved one, right?
yeah.
And when they don't understand, it can become difficult. Sometimes you might want to quit and just like, okay, if you don't want the help, then like,
Yeah.
so be it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's such a good story. And I did want to ask also about if it was like a personal experience of yours, and I'm glad you were comfortable enough to share that. Um, on a less serious matter, the comedy of that aspect, like, kind of really tied it together. Of like this is a serious situation, but sometimes we need to let off that steam, right? And the comedy really helps in the storytelling. And I know in the film you have Peter Kim, who is a comedian. I've seen some of his stuff on my TikTok page and just YouTube. And Hayden, who plays the young brother Larry, I've seen some of his other movies, and he's also quite funny in them. And I wanted to ask for you as the director, did you allow some improv in some of the comedic punches from them, or
Oh
was it
yeah,
just like
yeah,
script?
absolutely. I mean, I think I wasn't, there's a lot of laughs in the film, and
Hmm.
it's really great to see that. But the laughs really come from these characters. They're like real people,
Hmm.
real situations, and that's really what I wanted to do, and not make it feel like a sitcom, but really,
Yeah.
the comedy that comes from life.
Hmm.
But that being said, it's really hard to find actor or actresses who understand comedy.
Hmm.
Really get it and can just do it naturally. And so it was really key for me to find actors that could do comedy and drama. And
Got
so
you.
when I actually cast these actors, I look foremost to see if they can do comedy, because I think it's harder to find actors that can do comedy, as opposed to people that can do drama, and then
Got you.
trying to
Hmm.
teach them how to do comedy it's harder.
Hmm.
So I mean, Ali Mackey, the person who plays the main lead
Oh,
sister,
yeah, this is.
she was in the show called Wrecked on TBS. And
Hmm.
that's where I first saw her. I just saw just how incredibly sharp and funny and smart she was. And so that's what got me, interested in like getting her on board. And then Hayden, like you said, he was in this film called Edge of 17 with Haley Stanfield. And it was just, I remember watching, just laughing at just everything he did. And then Peter, of course, is a stand-up comedian. And so since everyone had this comedic background and we're so,
Hmm.
just so skilled at comedy, I really, wanted them to open up, and I really encouraged them to improv, and to, like,
Okay.
if something happened in the moment, to just like go for it. And so I would say maybe it's probably 25 or 30% of the funny lines that are out there.
Hmm.
It just came out of them naturally. Just, they would just like be doing the scene, and then they would just like pop out, just a reaction, or a way of saying things. As far as nerd things go, Hayden's a huge Pokemon Go fan.
Yeah.
So there's some very obscure Pokemon Go references in there that he just like brought out. But just little things like, things I didn't really know about, like, he's wearing a Dragon Ball Z shirt, and like, he mentions no GT. And it just like, that's just kind of nerdy parts of it. But often we'd have takes go on for maybe 3 or 4 minutes longer of just them just going off on each other and just like doing this.
Okay.
And so it really actually helped. I think it helped the actors like feel more natural for
Yeah.
the characters, but also just add a lot of comedic elements to it. So much so that like I probably cut out about 30 minutes out of the first cut.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
was all pure comedy because I just needed to get it down
Yeah.
and get things moving. But it was really, but it made the set fun, and it made doing the takes fun. And so
Yeah.
indie film, that's really important. So yeah, it was
No,
really.
of course. Yeah, no, it really hit. And like you said, it's kind of like a thing of flowing through with live comedic timing,
Mhm.
where I myself being the oldest of four, when we get into serious drama, oh, excuse me. When we get into serious drama, it kind of is necessary to, because you, like the old saying goes, you don't want to go to bed mad sometimes.
Yeah.
um Between us, we have a very loving relationship, especially some difficulties like parents being a little too tough on us and stuff.
Right.
So having that comedic timing kind of took the edge off of us going at it at each other, right, and saying some
Yeah.
stuff that we might have regretted later in the future. So it really does help, like you said, and the improv, it just hits, and I love that part. Um, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Mhm.
would say that I actually got some reactions. People that initially read the script is like, why are they so mean to each other? And I'm just like, well, that's kind of my life.
Yeah.
I think there's some families that are very, try to be careful of what they say to each other. But my family, my brothers and my cousins, uh,
Mhm.
it's opposite. I think once we, got to the point where we know we all love each other and care for each other, I think it's actually easier to like make little jabs at each other,
Of course.
because we know that, we want to take it seriously because we know we all love each other. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like a lot of sibling relationships in some films kind of forget that. It's not always lovey-dovey. Sometimes it's that whole jabby at each other.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but you did mention Larry has that whole Pokemon Go like aesthetic where he really loves it and stuff, and he's kind of nerdy and stuff. I did want to ask because some of his jokes hit with me, as I am one to collect like I like collecting some of the stuff that he also likes collecting.
Yeah.
And in his room we can tell a lot about his personality by the figures and stuff that he has in there, and I wanted to ask about that because it is a lot. It's a good amount of stuff like an actual person who collects would have, and some of the stuff isn't cheap. We can find it cheap, especially like the more common stuff. But I wanted to ask, how long did it take to gather all that stuff up, and did you get it new, used?
Well, I have to say that I actually I have a small collection of action figures. So
Mhm.
it was actually, a lot of the research that was done on that is stuff that I knew already. So I
Okay.
would say all the props in the background were probably, yeah, I'd say, they might have been all of my stuff. And I usually just collect stuff from movies or TV shows I like.
Mm,
I've done it ever since I was a kid. So
that's
um,
awesome.
yeah, we had quite a bit of material to put in the background. Uh, yeah, I was just, I would try not to get too tense with my props person, like,
Mm,
don't get all the little props, the little guns and stuff lost, and like, but
yeah.
everyone took care of everything pretty nicely. So it
That's
turned out.
awesome. That's good to hear. Yeah, because some of those they're memorable too. It's like sometimes we tie certain memories with it, or of the actual like cartoon or
Yeah,
figure. So no, I completely get that, which
I'm
is
not
it's just funny to hear.
I'm not insane collector like my cousin is. Like my cousin, like, make sure everything is boxed, and like he
Oh,
puts
okay.
he puts them in a plastic wrap and puts away in the closet. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I like the style and and the craft of it. So I like to like display them and take them out and like, let my
Same
kids
here.
play with them and stuff like that. So yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm not total crazy guy.
Yeah, same here. I mean, you kind of have to appreciate the craft by grabbing it sometimes. But for my last question, as we seemingly went through the main three, is back on that serious, or not serious note, more of a reflective note. So as we continue forward with in the art field, theater and arts, we kind of improve with each project that we do, right? um and we add stuff that we wouldn't have added or thought of in the past project. What would you say was one thing that you learned throughout this entire process, while filming this, that you didn't know at the time, but will definitely add it for your future projects?
Um, I think what this was a low budget independent film, uh,
Hmm.
and so because of our budget constraints, we have to make sure that we only have an impacted amount of time to shoot a lot of stuff. In
Hmm.
this case, we shot 14 days over 3 weeks
Okay.
for a feature script, which is pretty intense. And just it's really out of necessity. And I just feel really grateful that my cast and crew were on board. They knew it was indie film, and so they were gung ho. It was intense. It was really shot during the summer, so it was really hot.
Mm.
I can't tell in the film, but like, we're shooting in the house in Diamond Bar. It's probably around 95 degrees inside that house.
Oh wow.
And so, there's scenes where people have to look like they're cold or wearing jackets. It's like they pulled it off. My DP and the crew made it look great. But as soon as the take was over, people will like take off all their stuff and run outside, and like fans come on, and my actors
Yeah.
have to put on an ice pack to cool herself down and all this kind of stuff. And then as soon as we're ready for the next take, everyone took off, put everything back, and went back to work and did a great job. But so, the main thing is that it was just really intense. And
Hmm.
I think that I learned that I could do that and pull off a film, which is great. But I think that for my next film, I'd like to give myself like just a little more time to
Hmm.
like, take more time with the takes, and give ourselves a few more days, find the money to take a few more days, so that it's not, we could enjoy the process a little more
Of
of
course.
acting and directing and shooting the film. So I think that's every indie filmmaker's wish, is to have more time. But in
Mhm.
this case, I really think I'm going to really shoot for that, for my next film.
Awesome. I really hope I can get to see a screener of it whenever you end up finishing that up. If you're currently working on it, I know normally you can't say, but yeah, no, I really do hope to see more of your work. I really love this, the genre of this. I'm not sure if you're gonna continue in this type of style with talking about mental health or coming of age style drama.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Actually, my last film, Find Me, which
Hmm.
you do well, you can find on Amazon Prime.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
we're doing it's about a guy chasing a girl who leaves clues for him in national parks across the West.
Hmm.
We shot in Yosemite and Zion and Death Valley. And people really loved the film because they wanted to see all this great scenery of these parks, but there's actually a story that people get caught up in.
Hmm.
So my next film, actually, I want to do about a group of inner city kids from Oakland who decide to go out and see the outdoors, a diverse group of inner
Yeah.
city kids. And I want to just touch about, like you're just talking about, diversity in the outdoors and why we don't see a lot of diversity, a lot of different kinds of people, in, like at Yosemite or these national parks.
Hmm.
And so that's one of my films that I want to work on. And this film, we hope to release sometime in 2023. We're just starting the film festival circuit, and so it's been getting a really great response. And we had a really great screening on Sunday. And so we hope, if you want to find out about when this film will actually be released or other filmings,
Hmm.
screenings, you go to our website at dealingwithdadfilm.com. So dealingwithdadfilm.com. And there's actually, you can see the trailer, and there's a link to be put on our mailing list. So we
Okay,
can
cool.
keep you updated on when they'll come out again.
I would definitely add that my email to that because I do want to show other people that aren't kind of allowed to watch it with me during this soul festival process.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, thank you so much for coming on and allowing me the chance to interview you. And yeah, I hope that your next project comes out as good or even greater than what this one did. And I just can't wait. That's all I
Thank
really can say. I usually stumble on my words, but
you.
again, thank you so much. And that has been it for this interview. I will catch you guys on the next one. I'll allow Tom here to continue on with his day, and with you guys on the next one. Peace.